Alright folks, how's it going? We are going to have a bunch of fun here running through Vengeance going into 9.1 specifically for rating. So overall the talents, we're going to run through them, but they're on the screen right now if you want to steal that right away. I'm going to start talking about Covenants. Unfortunately, even going into 9.1, there's still not a lot of competition here. Kyrian is still head and shoulders the go-to Covenant of choice. Um, there's a couple competitive aspects if you're able to complement a few of your builds. Um, but really, Elysian Decree is going to be the choice unless we see a major nerf or changes to the other Covenant abilities as they sit today. From a legendary perspective, your like go-to default choice should be Resilix Defilement or Fiery Soul. For rating, I like Fiery Soul. It allows you to get more mitigation gaps filled up with Fiery Brand. That's relatively attractive. Um, there's been a lot of other builds that have been out there. Really, it just kind of comes down to what your preference is, but I really think it comes down to those two talents, or legendaries, I should say. From a raid standpoint, we're talking about Agonizing Flame in Tier 1, and that's really your choices between that and Abyssal Strike. Abyssal is more popular in about half of the different builds that are out there. It really kind of comes down to what it is that you prefer. For me, I'm sticking with Abyssal Strike. It just makes the Sigil of Flame when you land, and I'm taking advantage of that. It 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 really Infernal Strike's just a major part of the rotation for me. Um, as far as tier 2 goes, it's really kind of coming down to Fallout or Burning Alive. Feast for Souls doesn't really provide the value. Fallout's your default choice. Tier 3, these are all solid options, but Spirit Bomb is really the pick. It tops out the most damage of all three talents on this row, um, but you just kind of got to watch when you're running it with Ezekiel's Defilement or Fiery Brand, relying on using Soul Cleave as your pain spender. Kind of devalues Spirit Bomb, so keep that in mind. Tier 4, the kind of go-to for me personally is Fracture. I see this right across the board as well. We've seen it in 9.05. Fracture is just the go-to. Wouldn't be the same talent row without Fracture specifically, so don't even consider the other two talents. Tier 5, Quicken Sigils was really what makes the difference. It's the default choice, especially now that the Elysian Decree counts as a sigil. So it really reduces it to a 48-second cooldown. Take massive advantage of that. Tier 6, it's really unfortunate that the other talents are here because Demonic is just the way to go. It is very hard to beat. Finally, Tier 7, Last Resort, is absolutely where you want to go. You can do all kinds of face tanking as long as you've got that fail-safe setup behind you. In terms of changes that we've seen going into 9.1, Soul Rending had its baseline leech increase from 5% to 10% during Metamorphosis, but overall, Metamorphosis isn't seeing a 5% increase. It's actually seeing a 5% nerf to its leech, so it stays at 30%. That's really the quick and dirty, folks. Honestly, if you're really looking at more of a general build, you want to kind of rock with prioritize if you're looking for single target damage, crit over haste, and then mastery inverse. Alternatively, it just kind of depends. You could go haste, then versed, mastery over crit. It's really pretty flexible. It's just kind of tied to your fracture cooldown and how it gets reduced by haste. So that gets you a little bit more self-healing, which gives you a little bit more soul fragments. Could get you a little bit more damage through Spirit Bombs. Look at it that way. That's why haste is always big time attractive to me. What else do you think, folks? What are you doing in 9.1? Are you excited? How competitive do you think Vengeance is going to be in the Sanctum? Well, thanks for checking out the vid, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.